the excitement started when a lot of players came over from England actually and thought, where is rugby league? And that's where it drove sort of me and Tommy to revive Hong Kong Rugby League.
Just before we get started on our latest episode, talking all things Hong Kong Rugby League, I'd like to apologise for some of the inconsistencies in the audio of this episode. That aside, we're very excited to go live with this edition, where we talk about the rebirth of rugby league in Hong Kong, what the game looks like domestically, upcoming internationals, and many more topics. We hope you enjoy listening to this episode as much as we did recording it. A reminder of how much it helps us when you guys follow and share the podcast so we can continue to raise awareness of some of the great work that's being done with Rugby League International.
Really a case of having to log on to an online system at what time in the morning usually?
So at 7
a.m. to be the first one to secure the pit.
The reach goes further having the women's come, like you said, commercially. We were touching on the sponsors earlier. When they see that we have the women's team as well, it's not just a bunch of guys trying to play rugby. We've got this women's section. We've got the tag section as well. The reach is so much further.
Most of whom are local.
Exactly, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's episode of the Everything Rugby League podcast is all about rugby league in Hong Kong. I can say with certainty that our wonderful sport would not exist in this area of the world without the following three guests. It is a privilege to have Jason, Matt, and Tommy from Hong Kong Rugby League on the show. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, Keith.
Hey, mate.
As always, my co-host Stuart is in the recording studio. Stuart, the last we left off, I had my fingers crossed about a West Tigers win in Spoon Bowl. We now know the result of this, and it's far from the case of being a win. How are you holding up, mate?
Oh, not too bad here. The hand is firmly on the wooden spoon. We've had three now, so I'm pretty used to it, to be honest, with the West Tigers. But what I am excited about is having these guys here today. I spoke to them last year for an article for Rugby League Review, and what struck me was how positive they are, and the work that they're doing to develop the game in Hong Kong is just fantastic. So really looking forward to talking to them about that and getting the background and the latest news. And
Me too.
First of all, guys, I wonder whether you could first of all, Jason, introduce yourself. Tell us what your role is with the Hong Kong Rugby League and how you came to love the sport.
Yeah, hey guys. So I'm Jason. I'm the chairman of Hong Kong Rugby League. I've been doing this for close to 2 years now. Obviously post-COVID, and we just want to play rugby league.
Absolutely. I'm the same, but I can't say I've taken it as far as you guys in terms of starting rugby league in a new country. So I have the ultimate and utmost respect for it. I can only imagine the logistics that's involved with it. Closest I've come to participating in that regard is sort of, running the water at the Cabramatta Nines, if you guys remember that. Stu, is the Cabramatta Nines still around?
It's changed now. There was the Cabramatta Nines, it turned into the Sydney Nines, and now it's called the Harmony Nines.
Right, fair enough. All right, well, I've got a question specifically for you, Jason. Can you provide some history and background on rugby league in Hong Kong and why you decided to revive the game in 2022 after a hiatus?
Yeah, of course, mate. Yeah, so Hong Kong Rugby League was founded in 2015 by some of the guys here, expats, who are still around actually in Hong Kong. Big supporters of what we're doing here as well. COVID has hit us pretty hard. A lot of the players decided not to carry on playing, but we realised that there were still a lot of other players that wanted to play rugby league. I think the excitement started when a lot of players came over from England actually and thought, where is rugby league? And that's where it drove sort of me and Tommy to revive Hong Kong Rugby League.
Absolutely, and I noticed a British accent from yourself. I assume you're from England originally, or what's the background there?
I was born in Hong Kong. I was raised in Hong Kong, but I went to school in UK, in England, and I must have been back close to nearly 10 years now.
Wow,
but yeah, that's actually where I picked up rugby league when I was over in UK. I had nothing to do. Thought I'd go join a rugby league team. Didn't know what I was getting into, and loved it. From that point on, I thought that's my sport.
Tommy, just following the Federation's social media pages, there's some good work obviously being done in communications, and I see you've got some sponsors coming on board as well. How easy or hard is it to spread the rugby league world across your region?
Well, I think, well, as Jason said, I mean, it's been 2 years now that we've been really trying to get the ball rolling more and more. I think when we did start, right at the back end of COVID, it was a lot harder than it is now. Like we said, like the appetite wasn't there as much, and when we don't have anything to back that up, we didn't have any games for a couple of years. We didn't have any product to show to really be able to sell to potential advertisers. It was difficult at first, but I think after we got this first domestic season out of the way last year, that really helped build some momentum, and we were able to kind of leverage that, show people, look, this is what we did last year, more or less from nothing really. Like we didn't have much to go on from the start, and we built that up in just one summer. And I think that the advertisers now, they've been able to see that growth that has come quite quickly, and then also the future growth, of course, with the Japan game coming up next month, and then another international at the end of this year in the Philippines. So yeah, I think it's better now than it was, in a nutshell.
And Tommy, I can hear a British accent from there. Just tell us where you're from.
Yeah, I'm from Hull up in the north of England. Moved over here around 7 years ago, and I just came over looking. I just searched online somewhere to play rugby league, and back then they had they still had the domestic season before COVID, so that's how I first got involved, just as a player. And then of course that dropped off in 2020, and through that I've been able to build up a good relationship with Jason and with Matt to help get on board with the revival.
You're our second person from Hull in 2 episodes that we've interviewed. Last week, Stuart and I were talking to Dan Beardshaw, who's the Ukrainian rugby league national coach, and he was a mad Hull KR fan. Are you a KR or an FC man?
No, I'm from the good side of the city, so yeah, I'm FC. Yeah.
All right, Matt, over to you, my friend. Tell us about the game. Tell us about playing the game domestically. What's the standard like? And how many clubs are involved?
Yeah, so I think I've been playing here since 2016 or 17 when I first got over to Hong Kong with the Nines. We always had pretty good Nines competition. We'd have a few international teams flying in Thailand. We had Papua New Guinea, Tonga. I think they gave everyone a bit of a touch up. They're pretty handy. And then we've also always tried to run a bit of a domestic competition here. It's a bit of a battle for pitch space in Hong Kong. Rugby union's definitely a dominant force here. So we've often had 4 teams at least most domestic seasons. We might add 6 there at one stage, I think. But yeah, it just depends on who you're going to get every year. Who sort of elevates himself in the rugby world. Once they get pushed up into prems, start getting, and they're on premiership money and that type of thing, or if they're playing for representing Hong Kong in the rugby, it's a bit hard for them then to play both codes. We play in the off season here to rugby. So yeah, it really just depends on who's still in Hong Kong, who we get the word out to, who comes down. So yeah, it's up and down every season. It's just whatever you get here.
No doubt you're an Aussie, Matt. Where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm from a small country town called Gundagai. Dog on the Tug Box, you might have heard of it. Yeah.
Gundagai Tigers.
That's them, mate, the Mighty Tigers. And yeah, I was at St Greg's College for a couple of years in Campbelltown. And I was in Sydney for a few years before I came to Hong Kong.
Jason, last year you held a women's match involving one team that was Filipino women. Is the women's side of things something you want to continue to develop?
Yeah, we're still working on that heavily. They're all still really keen to keep playing rugby league. I think there was a very good positive reaction from that, actually. A lot of the girls, I'd say 99% of them it was the first time they actually played rugby league or even maybe heard of rugby league. Because of these international matches, we've kind of trying to develop that a bit more and actually want the chance to bring them out We want to bring them out too, sort of with the men's to Philippines and to Japan. Japan was a bit of a stretch. Obviously, financial restrictions on that, but Philippines is definitely an option for us to try bring them in, into the world as well. We want people to see that Hong Kong Rugby League is not just a men's competition. We've also got the women's competition.
Yeah, it seems like a hugely sort of rapidly growing area of the game as well. So it's really pleased to see. Stu, maybe you can comment on. Actually, you're the perfect person to comment. How did Greece get the women's side of things so successful? You coached a women's team in Greece. Like, can you talk?
I did both a club side and a national side. We just started really with partners and friends of the male players sort of coming to training and started to develop there. We also got when I was first there, I actually coached a bit of rugby union over there as well. So I got some girls to come over from rugby union as well, and they were sort of the basis of the team because they obviously had a few more skills than the girls had never played with an egg-shaped ball before. But yeah, so it's a slow burn though. I mean, you just got to keep building and building. I think it's not something that's going to happen overnight. That's for sure.
Interesting. Any comments? Any sort of crossover from that one, guys?
Yeah. Actually, from us, we found a lot of players in the tag scene. So Hong Kong Tag is part of the whole branding of Hong Kong Rugby League, and actually, when they started playing tag, on a social level, when people bring, like you said, bringing the partners along or their girlfriends and wives, and they realized tag is actually a really fun game. And when they brought in the contact as well, that's where we picked up quite a few players.
Yeah, interesting. All right. Well, cross over to you, Tommy. Now, access to suitable playing fields. You touched on very briefly before, but is it's usually the biggest problem in my experience for developing rugby league nations. Is this the case with Hong Kong?
Yeah, I mean, Hong Kong in general, space is at a premium anyway, right? And like Matty said, the union sides all have priority throughout their entire season, which is why we're pretty much forced into playing in the summer. And summer here, it's tropical weather. You're getting 35-degree heat and 100% humidity. It's not exactly the easiest conditions to play in July and August, but unfortunately, that's just when the pitches are available. So it's really a case of having to log on to an online system at what time in the morning usually?
At 7.
At 7 a.m.
Wow.
to be the first one to secure the pitch. So I mean, luckily we've managed to get quite a few, like a sequence of pitches for this next few weeks, building up to the Japan game. But and we do have a good relationship with a couple of the guys who run the pitches, so we do manage, but it could definitely be a lot easier.
Matt, we talked about this just before, but obviously rugby union's big in Hong Kong. Do you as an organisation have a good relationship with the other code, and how does it work with getting players?
Yeah, I think we do. And look, like Tommy said, the biggest part about that is we play in the off season, so we're not really competing for players that much. It's just more injury concern. Those top caliber players, which is unfortunate because we want to get those guys coming across. And I think a lot of them do want to play, particularly guys who've been capped for rugby do want to get that dual cap, but it's tough to do. But look, no, it's a pretty harmonious relationship, but it's a battle for pitch space, battle for players sometimes, and all that type of thing. But I think sort of further to your point earlier around the women's code, we've got a lot of really high caliber girls coming across from rugby. The rugby scene here within the women's rugby space is incredible. I haven't seen it like that, particularly where I'm from. So yeah, look, it's give and take, like most things.
This is a question not on the run sheet, Stu. Question for any of the three of you guys. What benefits do you think having a women's participation has, both with the image from a commercial point of view and just in general for the game of rugby league in Hong Kong?
Well, I think that like we said, the union guys, the union itself have done such an incredible job, and I think success does breed success, right? So when I don't know how long it's taken them to build up to the point where they are now, but it's quite clear that now they've got a really good foundation for that women's team, that it's just building more and more interest, and it's getting more kids in as well at a younger age. Like the minis rugby here in particular is really high in participation rates, both male and female. So I just think that, I mean, the more people playing rugby, the better, right? Whether it's league or union. So, regardless of gender. So, I think we take really good pride in
Definitely.
in having achieved that last year, and it's definitely something that we want to build on some more.
Definitely, I think having more people playing is the key here across sort of the reach goes further. Having the women's come, like you said, commercially, you know, we were touching on the sponsors earlier. When they see that we have the women's team as well, it's not just a bunch of guys trying to play rugby. We've got this women's section. We've got the tag section as well. The reach is so much further.
Most of whom are local.
Exactly, yeah. That's what we found as well. Actually, it was more the local sort of representation on the women's side and the tag players too. When we have that, it really does bite into what we're trying to do as well. Where a lot of our sponsors, if you've seen on our Instagram page, are actually local brands. We've been trying to support the local brands a lot more. They're really what drives the Hong Kong economy, and where we can help out and they can help us out. There's a bit of synergy involved there, helping each other out on that front. It really does help to grow the game.
Bloody fantastic answer. I really love that. And it's so good to hear. Next question. I'll go to you, Jason. You guys have a match against Japan, Hiru town in Hokkaido on October 13. Following that, the team will travel to Manila to play the Philippines on December 1. How's Hong Kong's record in these games, and what are you expecting around this time?
That's a really good question. Something I wanted to touch on actually, because we played Japan. They actually came over to Hong Kong in 2017. They beat us, so it was 1-0 to Japan. The following year, we actually went over to Tokyo and we beat them on their home ground. We did actually play each other in the Emerging Nations, but that wasn't a part of what this event is, which is the East Asia Cup. It's currently 1-1. The score stands at. So this is kind of I don't want to call it decider because we want to keep this going, but it's definitely a game that is very, very important to us and something we want to bring the trophy back to Hong Kong.
They've both been really close games as well. Those two ones that we had. I mean, they were lucky to win that.
Well, there was only 2 points in the Emerging Nations World Cup as well.
There were only 2 points in the second game
Yeah,
too.
they've all been like real arm wrestles.
They've been pretty close games.
Can we watch this? Like, is it streamed anywhere, or
It's in Japan. I do believe they're trying to set up a stream for this. There are a lot of followers asking the same question, and we'd like this streamed and obviously kept for history as well.
We'll share it with you if we get word of it being streamed.
Yeah, definitely follow our Instagram, Facebook page, because that's a lot of where these streams and links and will come out to as well.
What about the Philippines match? What are you expecting for that? Do you know much about them and how strong they'll be?
Yeah, that's a really interesting one actually. That's been in the making for pretty much the last 12 months. We've been talking quite regularly and closely with the Philippines guys. And the reason for that is we wanted to make a sort of a domestic competition. We all know that Philippines have a very good heritage team. I think they're ranked quite highly. I think around 30th, if I'm right. When we were talking, I said, look, we're not going to compete on that level just yet. We know where we stand. They were very keen to put a game together anyway, and that included basically their domestic team. So we've actually limited that game to, I believe, 4 heritage players only. So it will be made up of Philippines domestic team, and obviously we've pretty much got a 90% domestic team anyway. So it'll be a very, very good game as well.
Tommy, with yourselves, Japan, the Philippines, and there's also some domestic activity in places like Thailand and Vietnam, I believe. Is there scope to have an annual Asian tournament or even a Hong Kong Nines tournament?
That might be one for you, Jason.
Yeah, I don't think there's much we can say on that right now. I mean, it's such a good idea, right? With Cambodia, I think Thailand, they've all had teams in the past. I've not heard about Vietnam though, but I do know that India have got a quite good sort of rugby league team. it's definitely interesting to talk about.
The first time I ever heard of Hong Kong Rugby League was around the Hong Kong Nines, and there were teams like I think it was the Creepers, and there was the year after or a couple of years after, there's a team from Papua New Guinea that travelled. Were you guys around that time?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we played.
Papua New Guinea, they bring a team over every year, I think. Thailand, the first year I was here, Thailand played. Who else was it?
That was the year that Tonga won.
Yeah,
No,
Tonga.
Tonga were the following year.
Is it? Yeah,
But,
Tonga brought a representative home.
Yeah,
that
they were
won out.
a couple levels above what we thought we were getting. No, literally a development squad, I think. But the Pacific Islander team here, they stuck it to them. It come down right to a final try in the corner, actually, in the cup final. But yeah, no, we often had teams, particularly for the Nines. I guess it's just easier to get players across for a smaller competition like that. Yeah, obviously the leagues just get harder and harder as you go to take full squads and things like that.
Maybe we should bring it back next year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
always keen.
bring back the Mongol Reapers. Yeah,
It makes you realize just how I think the IRL sort of had the right idea with the World Cup of Nines, and since then it's been scrapped, and it just seems like a little bit of a wasted opportunity. We need to somehow. I feel like with the IRL being run by just sort of the dominant rugby league nations, they're a little bit out of touch with the fact that it's just so much easier to field your truly your best players if you only need to field 9 of them plus a few reserves. And you have countries like Hong Kong or the Philippines, Japan, etc., being able to really put their best foot forward with that. So I really hope that we see it sort of exist in emerging nations format of some variety. Do you guys sort of have any comments on that? Or
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that totally. It is easier to get teams across. I think everyone would be keen.
I think coming from a financial aspect as well.
Yeah, I mean that's been a bit of a battle with us getting work off, all of those things. Every year that goes on, we start to have families and competing interests, I guess. So that's been a bit of a battle, particularly with the Japan game. It's a little bit more expensive than going to the Philippines as well, and that type of thing. So all those factors.
A lot of these emerging nations as well, the resources aren't there. I mean, we do well with what we have, but I think a lot of these countries who could do so much more with more funding, are really the kind of held back somewhat just by not having the resources or the finances to be able to put on international fixtures or even nines.
that's actually the perfect segue. And I'm going to give this one to Matt. Around the world, Rugby League is looking at organizations such as the NRL, or primarily to the NRL to boost the sport. For example, in the USA. Do you think that the NRL could do more in Asia, though? Maybe hold a trial or some sort of exhibition match in Hong Kong?
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, you just got to look at the Hong Kong Nines that we have every year sevens, and how big that is. And like you got the stadiums here, you get the turnout, particularly when you really sort of boost bigger games, sort of like what they're doing in Las Vegas and that type of thing. So yeah, I think for sure if you could have NRL players coming over playing, just promoting the game, you just get more and more people interested and grow that fan base. Bit more merch flying around, all of that just grows it more and more. And yeah, I think if you could get games over here, for sure that'd help as well.
Absolutely. And Jason, just a follow up on that. Do players follow the NRL and state of origin in Hong Kong?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
actually,
massive.
it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we make an effort actually as sort of the, what do we call ourselves? Basically, everything rugby league as well in Hong Kong. So we do make an effort of bringing all the league boys down to a local bar, local pub, and watch the game together. We do try to watch a couple of games together as well sometimes, but definitely state of origin is the one that we all gather around, and we used to get quite a big crowd as well. I think early on before pre-COVID, we were getting.
Oh, you still feel a pub.
Yeah, it was still a pub. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're keeping that tradition going now. Obviously, a lot of the expats have left Hong Kong, unfortunately, but we do try and make that effort.
I think State of Origin is just the one game that is recognised anywhere in the world by any code. Just the competition level, the fierceness in the game. Everyone knows State of Origin.
Do you know what it is from a local? Actually, it's because it's easy to pick a side. When you've got the NRL, you've got 17 sides to pick from. But State of Origin, you can, you're either a maroon or you're a blue, and you can just pick a team and go with it.
Yeah, it's just going to be an absolute war on TV as well. It's great.
Do you guys have teams you follow in the NRL?
Yeah, I'm Penrith. My uncle works there, Jimmy Jones, so he actually took us through.
Oh yeah,
facilities when we were down there, the Emerging Nations World Cup. So I've got cupboards full of Penrith gear. Didn't have a choice growing up, mate.
I was through the Sam Burgess period, so I kind of stuck with the bunnies.
Much exclusive to Super League, to be honest. Like, I went to my first FC game when I was, I don't know, 3 or 4 through my dad, and I just followed them my entire life pretty much. So I'm usually waking up at 2-3 a.m. to watch games most of the time.
I read a book fairly recently from Paul Cook, who crossed the great divide of the two whole teams. Actually, still on the point of State of Origin, guys. I'm pretty sure I'm recalling sort of in my mind here in history, there was some kind of State of Origin Hong Kong event stage once, or the concept was there's an attempt to create one in Hong Kong, or am I dreaming that?
No, you're completely right. We called it the Battle of Origin. We didn't want to take that name fully, but the Battle of Origin is basically because Hong Kong is made up of, I'd say, 3 key areas. You've got the New Territories and Kowloon on one side of the island, and then you've got the Hong Kong Island at the bottom, which is like a separate island. And what we did was take everyone from the north and the middle against everyone on Hong Kong Island. And that was quite a fierce battle as well.
Yeah.
We actually kept that going for a couple of years.
Yeah, and then we had another version. It was Southern Hemisphere versus Northern Hemisphere players as well. So sort of all your Pacificas and Aussies just bashing up the English area.
Oh, right. I absolutely love that. All right, on to my next question. This one's for you, Tommy. What are your goals and ambitions? This is quite a overarching question. What are the goals and ambitions for Hong Kong Rugby League?
Well, I think right now, I mean, we're in the trenches pretty much right now with putting together these internationals for the next few months. I think our primary goal since restarting was, of course, building the game, of course, getting more participation, but just making it as local as we can. We want to get more local players involved. I think that when I wasn't around in 2015 when it first started, but I think it was, you might correct me if I'm wrong, but it was seen as more of pretty much it's an expat's game. That's what it was seen as. So in terms of long-term vision, I think we're trying to shift that focus, and I think we've slowly but surely been successfully doing that. And I think moving into next year, next summer when we get our domestic league going again, it's just going to be more of the same in terms of building that participation. And just we all love rugby league, right? We just want to fly the flag no matter where we are in the world. So we're proud to be doing it, no matter how well or not well we're doing. To be honest,
Definitely as an ambition, we want to keep it going, and we want to build the grassroots. So we have got a few plans to bring it to schools as well, to start teaching in schools. We have signed with a local school recently, very, very recently, actually last week, to bring it to the kids. It's a primary school. So that's, that's a good start for us there. And we hope to build on that really. And, we don't want to see what happened to COVID where it just kind of died out a bit. We want to make sure that there's a good foundation. We may not be around for the next couple of years. This could go to someone else, but we want to make sure the foundation is there for the next 5 to 10 years, that someone can just come in and pick it up and keep building on what we've been doing.
Matt, I'll ask you this. Apart from sponsorship, are there any other funding sources, and do you get any help from the International Rugby League at all?
Jason, you probably help me on this one. Is there any other funding we've got coming in at the moment?
There isn't no. I mean, there really isn't that much going on right now. We rely heavily on sponsorship. We do. I think 90% of it. And when I say sponsorship, the 10% is basically donations from rugby league fans around the world.
But I think since COVID, you're seeing a decline, and I think it's part of sort of the economy we're in at the moment as well. Sponsorship just broadly has pulled back. It's just been a bit of a cost cutting environment, not just for rugby league, but I think for a lot of the sporting clubs around Hong Kong in particular. So yeah, it has been tough. Yeah, it's just even going to Japan, a lot of it's self funded. So blokes really want this that are going. So yeah, we just sort of battle through it, don't we?
Perhaps an easy question, but I'm not entirely sure what the answer is. What is the Rula Bulla? The Rula Bulla.
Jonesy will tell you this one.
Second home. No, it's it's a bar here. Well, it's not running anymore, is it?
It's not.
No. So it was a pretty large sort of floor space bar in the heart of Lan Kwai Fong here, which is sort of the party area of Hong Kong. But that's where all sort of the best Origin turnouts usually were. You could probably get 100 people in there.
Yeah.
No more than that, probably.
Yeah.
At least for State of Origin, they always had the rugby league on. So it was actually where we had a lot of post-match events as well.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, no, it's a real shame. COVID was sort of the nail in the coffin there, I think. So with a lot of F&B here in Hong Kong, it's just been a massive turnover.
Even the Rula Bulla. Oh, sad.
Yeah.
I didn't know it
Yeah.
existed until
Yeah.
my research today.
So with the international matches, are there many heritage players that you can call upon, or is that something that you sort of look into at all? Or?
Yeah, I think how many have we got?
We've only got actually three of them.
Three,
Three of them
yeah.
flying in.
Yeah.
It was as what we've been touching on, more of a local players and domestic scene. We made it a statement to actually bring in all the domestic players that have actually played in the domestic league in Hong Kong. We want to give them that chance, and they're really the foundation of what we're trying to do.
Well, how many debutants would we have this year?
I think actually more than 60%. Yeah, 60%. And out of that, 50% of the players are actually local players as well. Yeah, it's been a big focus of ours, definitely.
Yeah, fair enough too. I think long term, that's the way to go to lay those really solid foundations, as opposed to sort of like just sort of the one-off turnouts based on heritage. Although in saying that, of course, heritage players do have their place. They can upskill the wider squad, and the more the merrier in that regard. But my next question, which is actually the last question that we have, is for Matt. Originally, expat seemed to dominate at least the tackle version of the game in Hong Kong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this, but can you talk to whether or not you guys have managed to make any headways with the local sort of Chinese background population, or for lack of better terminology there?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think probably one of the biggest drivers of that has not only been converts coming across from rugby and just looking for a bit more contact, year round, but it's been the tag as well. There's been a lot of local boys that have sort of learnt rugby league through tag and then look for a bit of contact. So that's where we've definitely seen a lot more local uptake. But I guess probably it's an exodus of some of those bigger bodied players leaving as well. So unfortunately for big fellas like me, the game's getting a bit quicker with the local boys coming across. But they're fitter too, which help us out when we go to Japan. So it's definitely growing, and that's evident from the team that we're taking to Japan this year.
That's all the questions that we sort of had written down. But is there anything that we haven't covered that you guys would like to add?
No, it's been great. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Everything Rugby League. If you like this episode, give the show a follow and leave a review. For more news and insights, follow us on Facebook or head to everythingrugbyleague.com.